How are you doing? My name is Paul Renteria, and I'm doing a presentation on Staphylococcus aureus. That is my organism with the common name staph. So let's get right to it. So here's a picture of the Staphylococcus aureus bacterium. As you can see, it looks like a cluster of grapes, grape-shaped balls together. Okay, so what is staph? So Staphylococcus aureus is a gram-positive coccus-shaped bacterium in the phylum Firmicutes. What's interesting about it is that 1 in 4 people actually carry the bacterium on their skin or in their nose, like the mucous membrane. And typically, and normally, it's actually not really a bad thing. It does provide people with benefits, as we'll get into. Here's the taxonomy of the bacteria. As you can see, I have included the domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. So here's a phylogeny chart, which I actually admittedly had trouble finding a quality one, but I think this is a pretty valid source here. And this is actually divided by the different types of bacterium. As you can see here, it's in phylum Firmicutes, and here's our Staphylococcus aureus, along with the other types of bacterium. So staph is heterotrophic. It's in particular, it's a chemi-heterotroph. It receives its carbon and energy sources from organic compounds. What's interesting and what makes it kind of pathogenic, as we'll see, is it's actually a facultative anaerobe, which means it's capable of surviving in environments of oxygen as well as environments lacking oxygen. So basically, it can produce ATP and grow and survive even in both cases, which is really interesting. So staph, like common with prokaryotes and bacteria, they produce asexually through a process called binary fission. So essentially what that is that it involves like one mother cell, or one cell elongating and then just splitting in two. And this process continues over and over. It would yield like 1 would yield 2, 2 would yield 4, and etc. So generally bacterial growth is rapid, which is pretty common. Here is a little illustration of the binary fission. So this is the key point with staph. So staph typically does reside in humans, and an infection with staph is contagious. So basically, the bacteria can survive on inanimate objects just long enough to be transferred from person to person. And an outbreak is common, typically within hospitals or hospital-like environments, nursing homes, facilities that undergo surgery or procedure. Just because, like if a doctor undergoes a surgery or procedure, if he has a bacterium on his hands, it can spread from patient to patient pretty easily. And typically, it's spread through skin-to-skin contact. As I've stated, it does typically reside on the human skin and in the nose, and it does provide benefits. In particular, the Staphylococcus on your skin, it actually does do a good job of destroying other microbes and other potentially harmful pathogenic bacteria. And unfortunately, infections do happen whenever it's allowed to enter the body or the bloodstream. Infections can happen in bones, lungs, heart, and even the blood. It could have deadly consequences as well, so we'll see. So there is a really economic significance here with the Staphylococcus aureus, especially in particular the MRSA, which I'll get into on the next slide. According to a report in 2013, it cost the United States billions of dollars for treatment of the infection, so it's pretty important. So methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. So a resistant type of staph can occur whenever doctors give patients antibiotics when they really don't need it. But the long story short, MRSA is a type of staph which is resistant to common forms of bacteria. It can be life-threatening, and people could have limbs amputated. It's obviously a serious problem. And the staph infection can occur that whenever the staph on the skin enters like a laceration, it actually can switch the process of fermentation, which cause disaster in there, spread infection and destroy. And this is a bit of a personal relevance to me because about 3 years ago I was diagnosed with MRSA, and I did go through the treatment. I was hospitalized for many weeks, and it was very painful. And I will never forget that. And that will just about wrap it up. Thank you for taking the time to watch my presentation, and hope you have a great day.